You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thank you for joining me here today on our Friday review. Excited to get started, excited to share with you actually a couple products today, a couple things that are used for skincare. And they're used by people with acne or any type of scarring or discoloration of the face, even can be used for wrinkles and rebuilding of collagen. So that'll be nice to get into for sure. And then a specific type of soap that, believe it or not, I hadn't heard about until maybe 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago. And it's something that I actually enjoy recommending in my practice now as well. So I'll share that with you. And then last but not least, right, how could we forget the super nutrient of the week? One of my favorite topics to go through. That means each and every Friday throughout all of 2018, I'll be bringing you one new nutrient. What is that? A vitamin, a mineral, an antioxidant, some type of amino acid, anything that your body needs that we can show, proven by science, helps you take your health, helps you take your weight loss, metabolism, anti-aging, all of those things to the next level. So that's really what it's all about. I'm always happy to share those things with you. I think that as we start to learn more, as our education grows and also our experience grows, we're able to not only improve ourselves, optimize ourselves, but really take back control of our own health. And once we do that, we can then share that with others because we're the role model who has now done it. And of course, no one's ever finished, right? There is no finish line. We're looking to work on this more and more every single year, but then we can share it with others. And that wisdom that you share with others is really the difference maker. That's what allows your community to grow, your family to grow, and for everyone to hopefully then pass that on to future generations to come. It's really the only way out of this health predicament that we're in right now, where we look to pharmaceuticals, we look to medications and surgeries and all these things to always just kind of bail us out. But the problem is that it's always working on superficial based issues, right? It's working on surface level based symptoms. What I want you to understand is that there is an underlying imbalance. And those imbalances can certainly come from nutrient based deficiencies or maybe toxicities, which we go over during the Cabral Concept podcast as well. So looking forward to bringing you that. And then before we get started, just want to let you know that this is really the last week, I would say, the last week, we'll go into next week, to sign up for the Business Detox Retreat. It is the Life Harmony Retreat. So it's how do you get into and create a life for yourself that enables you to live at your healthiest, increase energy levels, mood, optimize all those different facets of yourself while doing something that you're passionate about, right? Building a career that you love, whether it's yours as an entrepreneur, whether it's working for someone else's company as well. You're inside of it though, and you get to essentially build that life, build that career, and have it all. That's what this is all about. I'm so excited. This is the first time I'll be doing this, and this is partnering with my friend and colleague, Dave Ruel, amazing businessman, and he's the founder of the Ethic Planner that I've spoken about before. Super excited, and I'll be, of course, coaching you through all of the health. How do you do that from a nervous system perspective? And really going through a lot of the de-stress protocol that's in my new book, The Rain Barrel Effect. So super excited about that. It's at an amazing spot right outside of Boston, about 40 minutes north of Boston in the airport in Essex, Massachusetts, right on the water. This is a private retreat. We literally get the entire compound to ourselves. So we'll be doing nature walks, and hopefully we'll be doing, if the weather holds out, which I'm sure we'll have some great weather that first weekend of May, some campfires at night, and the meals are paid for you. All of your room is paid for you for those 3 nights, Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. So basically we're doing a dinner together as a group Thursday night, all day on Friday. We're doing 2 90-minute seminars, and then it's going to be interacting one-on-one with a lot of people in the group. It's going to be going outside. It's going to be enjoying nature and truly detoxing, getting away from the phones and all of those things. And then Saturday, we're going to be doing the same. New seminars. How do we expand upon all of the things that we spoke about on Friday? On Saturday night, we'll do our final dinner together, essentially as a group. And then on Sunday morning, you can have dinner and you can go about your way from there. So a lot of great things happening. You can just get more information on this since I'm not going to give it too much more topic today at businessdetoxretreat.com. You'll see everything there. Again, this is an all-inclusive retreat. It includes all of your meals. It includes your room for the 3 nights, everything that you need. And I can't wait to spend time with you right there at that retreat. So excited for everyone that's already signed up. And hopefully, if you're on the fence, that you do join us because this will be an event like no other. And then again, that's at businessdetoxretreat.com. Simply go to stephencabral.com/798. stephencabral.com/798. And that's where I'll put all of the links for today in those show notes. So that brings me now to, what is this new soap? What's this new product that I've been recommending for people with eczema, psoriasis, skin rash-based issues? Well, again, I've been using shea butter for years and coconut oil soaps and olive oil soaps and, all of these natural things for at least a decade before they were really popular, before they were even a Whole Foods. They were in natural health food stores, and I loved using olive oil soap. And again, I still use those. Don't get me wrong. I use an olive oil soap that I really do like. But what if you have a skin-based condition that you can improve upon by using a different type of soap? So again, for eczema and psoriasis in the past, this is not the underlying root cause healing. I'm not talking about that. Meaning, like, if you have eczema, you have psoriasis, you have rosacea, you have a skin-based issue, absolutely run an organic acids test, a food sensitivity test, and a stool test. If you can only do one, you'll run the organic acids test. If you can do 2, the stool, and if you can do 3, the food sensitivity test. And here's why. The underlying root causes to a lot of these skin-based issues is from the gut. So the skin is an expression typically of what's going on internally. Now, you can have an atopic or you can have a reaction from the environment. That's possible. So don't get me wrong. You switch laundry detergents, you are exposed to some new chemical sensitivity, you can have a skin reaction because of the outside environment. But I would say 9 times out of 10, what we're looking at is some type of gut-based function, and that is then being manifested through the skin. So I won't get into that too much today because this is a product review, but run the organic acids test. It will let you know about the yeast overgrowth, the bacterial overgrowth. It will let you know about vitamins and the liver detox, all that. But then if you run the stool test, it will let you know about parasites, and it will also let you know about other types of bacterial overgrowth and H. pylori, because we run a stool test that's a 3-day sample. Remember, 1-day samples, I don't love them. 3-day sample, we have a lot more chance of catching whatever that thing is that you may have inside you. So we look at that. And then, of course, the food sensitivity test, we look at that from a delayed response, an IgG response, which means if today you listen to this on a Friday, what foods did you eat on Wednesday that could actually be causing the skin rash on a Friday? That does happen. That's called an IgG-based reaction. Look into that. It's so important. Again, I will link up those 3 labs in the show notes today. So I'll put that in my notes right now before I forget, because I will forget. All right. Now, the next thing is, what is this soap? Well, it's called African Black Soap, and it was created centuries ago. I was doing my research on this because, of course, like, I know what the soap is. I'm looking for organic ingredients, all of that. But I'm like, okay, well, what's the genealogy of this? What's the research? I love looking into that. Well, it looks like this originated in Ghana and West Africa a few centuries ago. So here's how it started. It started to prevent dry skin and stretch marks. And it was gentle enough where they actually would use this. Now, again, we're calling it African black soap coming out of Africa. And the soap is actually a dark brown. It's not quite a black. And here's where it comes from. It comes from actually the ash that they used from burning the plants or the bark that goes into this soap. So it actually has some charcoal in the soap. And when I look at that, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Charcoal is also detoxifying. It's also cleansing. This makes sense. This could be a really great product. So, of course, I use the product myself before I would ever recommend it to you. Really enjoyed the product. A lot of them, they actually burn the cocoa-based pods. So what is that? Well, you get your chocolate beans, you get your cocoa beans out of a pod, and they burn that pod to get the charcoal. Some brands, because all the brands are different. So the reason I want to bring this up too is there's not one standard way to make African black soap. But what you're looking for is some type of charcoal in there from the burning of the cocoa leaf pods or palm leaves or plantains, like anything like that. You're getting that burnt substance, the charcoal. So look for that. I'm going to give you some links as well. But let's just say I like to educate. So like, let's say you're at your local health food store. You're supporting your local health food store, which I think is amazing. And you should do that. The small mom and pop shops, I literally, every time I see one, I go in and just buy something. I really do. Like, I honestly do. I go to Maine quite a bit during the warm weather, or actually in the fall is my favorite season. But I go up there and there's this small mom and pop shop, and I go in there every single time I'm up there, and I literally I could buy groceries right at Whole Food stores or anywhere, but I buy it from them. I buy local. And then I don't even need more supplements, right? You're talking to a naturopath, I don't need any more supplements, but I always buy something from them. And anyway, like, I would obviously get it at much less of a cost than them, but I still buy it to support them. I'm just such a proponent. Go to your farmers markets, go to your local health food store, support them. That's what it's all about, because we don't want it to go all the corporations and all the Amazon. That's not a good thing, okay? Okay, so what else is in this product? Shea butter. All right, so there's going to be some type of shea butter, and the shea butter is also going to balance then the drying that you might get from the charcoal. There's usually some type of palm oil. And what we're looking at in these products are they're very high in vitamin A, very high in vitamin E, and they're very high in iron. Now, again, centuries ago, did they know they were high in these specific vitamins? Probably not. But what they did see was the benefit of the dry skin and the stretch marks. And I would say you could use this for most skin-based conditions. So check that out. It's called African Black Soap, usually coconut oil, usually some type of palm oil, but definitely some type of charcoal or burnt-based substance in there. A lot of the ones that I look for, because it was traditionally used with the cocoa pods. So that's what I'm going to recommend for you today. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Check it out. If you've ever used it before, I would love to hear from you. Just reply back. Just go on Instagram and check out that podcast post, and I would love to hear your experience with it. All right. So now I want to get into another product, actually. So I would say not a ton, right? Some people get a ton of stuff, but I probably get like a half dozen different products that people want me to review on the Cabral concept. And most of those never see the light of day. And that's because they're fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with them, but I'm not going to recommend you a product that's just fine, right? You can get fine products anywhere. What I want to do is actually recommend a product that I can back up by science, that I can also assure that's going to work for you if you use it. So that's always where my recommendations come from. So this specific one is a company called Banish. Banish Acne Scars is actually the name of the website. I had not heard of them before. And again, I know a lot of skincare products. My wife, I consider an expert in the skincare field. She really is. I mean, she knows skincare products in and out. So where I help people internally from skincare, also I give her obviously recommendations for skincare products. But at the level that she knows it at is next level. And so that's why one day I would love for her to do a show with me on skincare and all the different products and when to use it and when not to use it. Because again, really, really looking forward to that show as well. I think I'm actually trying to say this right now to get her to do that show. But this product, of course, I brought it to her as well. And the basic product, the starter product that we're looking at for Banish is essentially microneedling, and I'm going to go into it a little bit more in depth, and then a very high quality vitamin C serum that actually helps to remove acne scars. So think about everyone out there right now that has either had acne in the past, they're dealing with acne currently, and they have the red marks, or they have some type of scarring that's actually left on the face. Well, believe it or not, there are actual methods. So there are methodologies that you can use right now to dramatically lighten and remove those acne scars. And Banish has found, honestly, a very simple way and an inexpensive way, because I don't want every product that I recommend to you to be very expensive, right? I want there to be, okay, so there's some products that are going to be a little bit more expensive simply because of the ingredients they might be using or where, like the process of manufacturing it, any of those things, okay? So those are going to be a little bit more expensive. But what if we can use some products that aren't as expensive, or what's also nice is that they can have different levels. So the Banish kit is essentially your starter kit. I'm calling it a starter kit. They have another one for $195 that's a little bit more expensive, but you can even start with one. It's less than $100, gets great reviews, which is obviously important as well, right? And that begins with what? It begins with the basis of what you need. This is the package or the starting point to eliminate acne scars. So let's say you never go with the Banish company, but you need to know how this works specifically. And then I just don't think you're probably going to find a better deal than Banish, which is why obviously I'm recommending them today. Okay, so let's go back. I was interested in always saying, like, why does someone create a company? Because companies for the most part, are so challenging to create, and you have to compete with like all the big skincare companies. Well, the thing I like to always look at is like, who's creating this product and why? So Banish company was actually created by their founder. Her name's Daisy, and very popular online. But why did they start out? Well, they start out because it's someone that had acne scarring themselves. And they really had it since third grade, and it affected their self-image. It affected their self-confidence in life. She had personally tried, dozens of things, and they didn't work for her. So what she did find was something through her own self-exploration that's also now proven by science. I call it microneedling. Not everyone does, but basically what you're doing is you're using a roller, which they do have. You can also use a stamp-based tool with these tiny, tiny little needle points. And what it does is it actually starts to increase collagen production, cell turnover, and it prevents oxidation. It does these things at a faster rate. By increasing cell turnover, you can begin to build up new collagen, new skin. That new skin is not going to have the same discoloration. This product is also guaranteed to work, which is also one of the things that I need to have. If I'm ever going to promote a company, whether they send me the product to try or not, it has to be guaranteed. All of our products are guaranteed. It's just like you have to have that. If it doesn't work for someone, well, then fine, it doesn't work for you. Then here's your money back. I think that's like really important to have. So really what we're doing with this product is we're creating microscopic, little tears in the skin. And that's allowing the body to rebuild that much faster. It's allowing the elastin fibers, which is why this company is mainly they're telling people they're going to help them remove those acne scars, which is amazing. But I'll let you know. I just want to let you know as well. There's more benefit to this, meaning that you can use the microneedling and their vitamin C serum to help reduce wrinkles around the eyes, to help to rejuvenate the skin overall, to help eliminate all pigmentation spots, that includes brown spots on the skin, and just overall produce more elasticity or collagen within the body. And the vitamin C is that other product. Now, again, they have whole kits that provide much, much more than just this Banish kit, the original kit that I'm talking about. But the vitamin C is going to be one of those things that's going to at a much faster degree. I've talked about this before, rebuild the skin. So this is 99.9% pure L-ascorbic acid, vitamin C, but it also has other ingredients, organic ingredients such as aloe vera, which is, again, phenomenal for cooling and calming the skin. It has vitamin E in there, ferulic acid. I never know if I'm pronouncing that word correctly or not. Rosehip, grapefruit seed extract. Why are those important? Well, grapefruit seed extract can actually even act as like its own little natural chemical pill with the citric acid as well, but they're preservatives too, natural preservatives, of course. And rosehip, super high in vitamin C. So the product has what it needs to have, and that's why I have no problem recommending that today. I really believe that if you're working on your gut health to help to repair the acne in the first place, and then you're doing something topical, like we even just talked about with the soap, but when Banish to remove these acne-based scars, you're doing everything that you need. Like that is the beginning. Fix your gut, fix the hormone imbalance, clean out the dirty blood, do a detox, use, this Banish kit. And I think you're going to get great results. And that's why also something like this doesn't need to be done all the time. It only needs to be done every couple weeks. Allow the skin to turn over. Don't do it every day. And then you can continue to use the vitamin C to get the benefits over time. So big fan, thought it was great. Comes in very simple packaging. Don't look for this like glowing gold leaf box or anything like that. Simple product. They don't spend the money on the packaging. They pass the savings on to you. For my community, they gave us a little coupon code. I don't know how long the code's going to last, so just feel free to check this out. Go to Banish with one N, banishacnescars.com. I'll link it up in the show notes today. And they're giving $15 off any order with the coupon code Cabral Concept. So I thought that was pretty nice that they gave our community $15 off. And again, go to stephencabrал.com/798. I will just literally put in all of the links there. And I will also link to the Banish starter kit as well. The starter kit gives you even more than the vitamin C and the microneedling. And that might be the best place to start. That's under $200. You get the clay and charcoal mask. You get the pumpkin enzyme mask. You get the vitamin C. You get their microneedler or pore smasher. So pretty nice stuff. I think it's great. I always like to give a contraindication. One thing just to be sure is that when you're using the roller or the microneedler, whatever you want to call it, is that you're not rolling over any current acne that you do have. You don't want to open up that acne and get the bacteria on those microneedles and then spread it on the skin. So you're going to do it around the acne. And one other recommendation is just to make sure that you clean the roller before and after use. And you can just use an alcohol cleaner for that. And then just replace that roller probably every 3 to 4 times maximum that you use it. Just keep it clean and you won't be spreading any bacteria. And then you'll get the benefits of the microneedling to help rebuild fresh, new, glowing skin. So if you use this before, again, I would love to hear from you. And then if you do purchase your own kit, would love to hear your success story with that. All right, so let's move on now to the super nutrient of the week. Excited as always to bring you one of my favorite vitamins, minerals, or in this case, this week is Saccharomyces boulardii. So Saccharomyces boulardii is a non-pathogenic yeast that we typically get from the skins of lychee or mangosteen. And what it can do is something that I first read about in the literature. This is probably about 10 years ago now. So I was just combing, literally what I do is I read, obviously, medical literature for whatever reason. Of course, I know that makes me strange, but I enjoy it. And so what I was reading was this literature around antibiotic use, because if you know me, if you know my story, I work with a lot of people with digestive-based issues, and they end up with those digestive-based issues because of multiple uses of antibiotics, or in my case, over 3,000 capsules swallowed of amoxicillin, which is, debilitating. It makes absolutely no sense. But when you're a dermatologist just looking to get rid of bacteria in the blood and hope that it helps with acne, you give that as a so-called treatment protocol. Well, anyway, what we're looking at is in the literature, this has been stated for quite some time now, any time that you give antibiotics, you're also supposed to prescribe Saccharomyces boulardii. Now, I cannot think of a medical doctor, and again, nothing against medical doctors at all, but I can't think of a single medical doctor that's ever prescribed or recommended Saccharomyces boulardii when using antibiotics, even though it's written in the literature that the reason you're supposed to give Saccharomyces boulardii every time that you use antibiotics is to make sure that pathogenic candida or yeast or fungal overgrowth does not continue to proliferate. And it helps with antibiotic-associated diarrhea. That's clinical. I mean, literally, this is all stated in the research. I'm going to go through the research with you today, but also just let you know how I use it in my practice. So, Saccharomyces boulardii. Sometimes it gets confused as a probiotic. It's not a probiotic. It's actually a form of yeast. And that yeast is, unlike Candida albicans, it's a non-pathogenic form, which means that Saccharomyces boulardii, again, it's not to be confused with Saccharomyces cerevisiae. I know this can get confusing, but the Boulardii form has actually been shown to help with many, many different things with the intestinal tract. So I'm going to get to the intestinal tract in 1 second, but there's some new research showing that Saccharomyces boulardii may help with high cholesterol. It may help with blood sugar dysregulation. It may help with obesity. It may help with liver health, and it may help with HIV. Now, why can it help all of these things? Well, here's what it does. It seems to help too with inflammation balance, as well as blood sugar regulation, as well as cytokine production, which is inflammatory as well. And it allows for better absorption of nutrients and better balance with gut flora. That means better probiotic balance in your gut. So I find this very, very interesting because I believe the final frontier for health is gut-based as well as energy-based as well as the genome. I believe we're going to be able to edit the genome in the future. I believe we're going to be able to edit gut flora in the future. And I believe that we're going to be doing a lot more with energy and vibrational-based healing, something of which I cannot recommend right now because I can't see any replicable-based results. And, above all, I obviously love all the different practices, right? I even love Tibetan bowls and all of that, but I can't use it in my practice. And the reason I can't use it in my practice is that when someone comes to me, I need to get them results. That's the bottom line. If I work with you or you run a lab test through us or anything, you're not going to be the guinea pig. We're not experimenting with anything. We're using exactly what works. Now, if you show me research and you can replicate it many, many times, and I use it myself and I say, hey, this works, and I can use it in my practice and I see it work, well, of course, that becomes then a part of my practice because I want to keep improving and just as a practitioner and obviously for myself and everyone as well. So what I can tell you though right now is Saccharomyces boulardii is something I've been using in my gut-based protocol for approximately 7 years. It's one of the things that we did very differently than most people, along with biofilm disruptors. Now, hopefully you tuned in this past Wednesday. I talk about Saccharomyces boulardii. It's not a coincidence that this Friday is on Saccharomyces boulardii. Tune into episode 796 if you haven't already. StephenCabral.com/796. How to finally get rid of candida and bacterial overgrowth. That means if you suffer from IBS, IBD, Crohn's, colitis, yeast overgrowth, any SIBO, anything going on with the gut, you have to check out that episode. It's exactly what we do. It's not kind of what we do. Remember, the Cabral concept, I give away everything I do in my private practice. I'm not worried about other health practitioners copying what I do. I want other health practitioners to copy what I do. That's what I believe. That's really it. I learned methodologies from all over the world. I learned methodologies from great practitioners. Then I read it in the research and I studied the research and then I put that into practice. I tweaked it. I made it my own. And now it's my job to then share it with others. And that's essentially the bottom line, right? That's what I'm trying to do. The next phase of my practice is I continue to see people, of course, but I'm personally booked about 2 months out. My health coaches are booked about 2 to 3 weeks out, so you can still see, obviously, and speak to my health coaches. You can run a lab test with us anytime, and that's much, much faster, of course, to do that. That's the best thing, easiest thing to do. But then my next phase is what I want to do is I want to certify health practitioners and then be able to refer to them, because what I want to do is create a positive army, not a negative, not I don't know what the best way to, a violent army, right? I want to create a peaceful army of people that go around and they share their healing wisdom with the world. That's obviously what I want. And Saccharomyces boulardii is something that we use in my practice. Why? It's shown, again, to help the immune response within the gut. It lowers the inflammatory-based response. What it does is actually helps to push out pathogenic-based yeast. It's been shown to also help with H. pylori, even as a single source treatment, meaning like even if you use nothing else, Saccharomyces boulardii seems to help really well as a single-base therapy. Really, really impressive what I saw. Research on how it helps with Clostridium difficile, how it helps with GI inflammation, what it helps with Crohn's disease, IBD, IBS. It helps with antibiotic that I talked about before, antibiotic-based diarrhea. It helps with traveler's diarrhea. What is this thing and how does it help? Well, what it does is it actually starts to take up place, like placeholders in the intestines. It allows for better intestinal balance. That's really what we're talking about, right? So I'm going to give you some recommendations just right off the bat. If you're ever taking an antibiotic or know you're going to take an antibiotic, my recommendation is to take a product called Clean Gut Probiotic. Clean Gut Probiotic. It will put the good bacteria back in along with the Saccharomyces boulardii. If you're using our Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol, or you're trying to work with a practitioner right now in your area on getting rid of Candida or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, you do not want to use a probiotic in the beginning. You want to use Saccharomyces boulardii. I explained that episode 796 in depth, so I won't waste your time today on that, because those who want to learn about it can learn about it on episode 796. Okay, you also, if you ever get traveler's diarrhea, you want to get a product called Saccharomyces boulardii plus MOS. I have helped so many people with this one product alone because they came back from a trip and they have loose stool, they have diarrhea. Okay, couple things you should do. Run an organic acids test, run a stool test. If you ever come back from a trip and you get diarrhea, you get loose stool, you very well may have picked up a parasite, or you might have picked up some type of bacteria such as Klebsiella or just some other overgrowth of bacteria that you now have in your gut. It could be Giardia, it could be, like I said, parasites, it could be Cryptosporidium. So many different ones, right? So check that out. Of course, run a stool test, and I'll link that up in the show notes. Just go to everything today. I'll link up. Why don't I do that? It'd probably be a lot easier. Go to StephenCabral.com/798. Okay. So I'll also link up the Saccharomyces boulardii plus MOS for traveler's diarrhea, and I will link up the Clean Gut Probiotic, and then I'll also link up just straight Saccharomyces boulardii. So if anyone ever wants to use just straight Saccharomyces boulardii to help just balance their gut for a month or so, great. How long do I use Saccharomyces boulardii? Well, I'll use the Saccharomyces boulardii as a single source in the Candida protocol for 1 month. I use Saccharomyces boulardii with MOS for traveler's diarrhea for 1 bottle. I use the Clean Gut Probiotic for mild Candida-based issues or for antibiotics for anywhere between 4 and 12 weeks. And then I don't use Saccharomyces boulardii after that. I don't use Saccharomyces boulardii as a long-term thing. I use it for approximately 3 months maximum. And then I switch over to something called the Daily Probiotic Support. That's what we do in my practice. We get amazing results with it. I mean, like literally, I could just very humbly tell you that registered dietitians and other doctors and many other functional medicine practitioners who are not able to help a particular client, they send them to us to be able to work with them on gut-based issues. Remember, if we run an organic acids test, if we run a stool test, if we run a food sensitivity test, we know what's going on in that gut. We're really able to help define that. And then we're able to help eradicate what shouldn't be there and then repopulate what should be there. It's not simple, but we really do know what to do. And again, you can do this on your own by following what I instructed for a health practitioner and for your everyday person at episode 796. So Saccharomyces boulardii is one of those things that a lot of people haven't heard about, but Saccharomyces boulardii could be the difference maker in helping you to repair your gut, decrease inflammation, help with cholesterol, obesity, all these different things. Because remember, I've talked about this before in the past, what goes on with the rest of your body almost always starts with the gut. Just make sure that gut's balanced. If you do that, I'm telling you right now, you give yourself such a much better chance for health, happiness, and really being able to go out there and live your absolute best life. Thank you so much for tuning in today's podcast. This was a fun one. We went over the skincare at the Banish acnescars.com. We talked about the African black soap, which is amazing. Talked about the business detox retreat. And then we talked about the Saccharomyces boulardii. So really fun for me. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. And be sure to check back tomorrow when we're going to be going over your questions, our community questions on the Cabral House Call. Take care, everyone.
I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.